All right, the first set of questions here. You guys are going to have questions that you have to solve by graphing, solve by substitution, and solve by elimination. So if it says to solve by graphing, that's what you need to do. So the first thing I need to see from you is that you identify the slope and y-intercept from each equation. So the slope here in this first one is positive 1 over 1, the number in front of x, and your y-intercept is at positive 2. It's a positive upwards. So at positive 2, you put your point, and then you go up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1, down 1 over 1, down 1 over 1, and so forth. And then we're going to connect our dots, and I'm going to do it the best I possibly can. All right, my second line, my slope here happens to be 3 over 1. And then my y-intercept is at negative 2. Again, this is a positive line, so it's sloping upwards. So at negative 2, I put my point, and 3 over 1. So up 3, 1, 2, 3 over 1. Up 3, 1, 2, 3 over 1. Again, up 3 over 1. And you connect your dots. Make a line. Where do these two lines meet? At what point? At 2, 4. So your answer here should be 2, 4 in parentheses as an ordered pair. If you want to check it, you plug it back in just to make sure that the 2 and the 4 satisfy the equation. Questions? All right, let's look at the second one. All right, first of all, let's take this y off. Shouldn't be like that. I forgot to erase that part. All right, so we have our two equations. What do you guys notice the first equation has? All right, fractions. If we're going to graph, guys, you have to have your equation in y equals mx plus b, right? The first one was already set up for us. It was nice and easy. The second one is not. So as soon as we see a fraction that we're starting off with, let's get rid of that fraction. So what could I multiply the entire equation by to get both the denominators to go away? What number would divide by both 4 and 6? No, 12. 12 divided by 4 is a whole number. 12 divided by 6 is a whole number. So I'm going to multiply this whole thing by 12. So 12 divided by 4 is 3. So I have 3x. 12 divided by 6 is 2. So plus 2y equals 1. Am I in y equals mx plus b yet? So we have to subtract 3x from both sides. So I'm left with 2y equals negative 3x plus 1. Then divide everything by 2. You guys agree? Yeah. Oh, I forgot to multiply this by 12. I'm sorry. Everything by 12. Here, here, and here. So you're left with y equals negative 3 over 2 plus 6. So in this case, guys, your slope is negative 3 over 2. That means it's a downward line. And your intercept is at 6. So I'm going to go up here to 6, and then I'm going to go down 3, 1, 2, 3, over 2. Down 3, 1, 2, 3, over 2. And so forth. Down 3, 1, 2, 3, over 2. 1, 2, 3. I'm just writing a lot of dots so I can kind of get the straightest line I possibly can. Then my second equation. Is this second equation in y equals mx plus b? Yeah. Not yet. It says x minus y, right? So I'm going to have to subtract x from both sides. So I have negative y equals negative x plus 3. Divide everything by negative 1. So I have y equals negative divided by negative is a positive. And then positive 3 divided by negative 1 is minus 3. So my slope is 1 over 1. And my y-intercept is negative 3. So I go down here to negative 3. It's a positive or a negative slope? Negative or positive? It's a positive slope, right? So I'm going to go which way? Up 1, over 1. Up 1, over 1. Up 1, over 1. Up 1, over 1. Something like this? All right. Now, this does not cross exactly in a spot. It's close. On your test, I promise it will cross exactly at one spot. On the review, I graphed it with a negative slope just so it would cross exactly in the same spot so you guys would see it. But when you graph, where the graph crosses each other, that is your solution, correct? All right, so let's look at number 3 then. Keep that in mind. I have to have my equation in what kind of form again? Y equals mx plus b. The first one already is, so my slope is negative 3 over 1, and my y-intercept is at 4. So my line's going to go downwards, correct? So I go to 4, and then I'm going to go down 3, 1, 2, 3 over 1, down 3, 1, 2, 3 over 1, down 3, 1, 2, 3 over 1. I'm going to connect my dots. And then I look at my second equation. It's not in y equals, but it's close. All I have to do is just subtract a 3x from both sides, right? So I have y equals negative 3x minus 4. What do you guys notice about both of these slopes? They're the same. That should tell you something. But if you are solving by graphing, you have to show me. So here I have my slope is negative 3 over 1, so it's a negative line. And my y-intercept is at negative 4. So I'm going to go down here to negative 4. And my slope is negative 3 over 1. So down 3, 1, 2, 3 over 1. Up 3, 1, 2, 3 over 1. 1, 2, 3 over 1, and so forth. Yes, please. Thank you. You're the best. What do you guys notice about these two lines?
Parallel.
They're parallel. What do we know about parallel lines?
They have the same slope.
Same slope. So what's my answer for solutions? What is the solution here? No solution. If all you do is write no solution, but you don't graph it and show me that, you're not getting credit for it. So make sure you understand when graphing, guys, you need to get your equation into y equals mx plus b, correct? Okay. Let's move down here to substitution. If it says substitution, you have to use substitution. That means plug one thing in for the other. All right, this was not meant to be a trick question. These both things say y equals. So all you have to do when they're both set up as a variable equals something, just set them equal to each other. So I have negative x minus 6 equals x minus 4. And we're going to solve this. So I'm going to subtract x from both sides. Negative 2x minus 6 equals negative 4. Add 6 to both sides, correct? So I get negative 2x equals 2. Then what? Divide both sides by negative 2. And x equals negative 1. Now how do I figure out what y equals? Plug it in the x. To which one? It doesn't matter. I'm just going to do the bottom one. So y equals negative 1 minus 4. Y equals what? Negative 5. So I write my ordered pair as negative 1, negative 5. Now, before I move on, what should I do with that ordered pair? I should go back and check. Plug it back in mentally. That's all you got to do. Go back and check. All right, let's look at the next one. Again, guys, when you do this, I'm going to do it a certain way. You don't have to do it the same way I do. I'm going to do what I think is the easiest, but you guys may not see it that way. But I see this already set up. One equation already says y equals. So I'm going to take this expression and I'm going to plug it in the bottom equation where I see the y. So I have x minus 3x minus 2 equals 4. You guys with me? What do I do with this negative out in front? I have to distribute it first. So I have x minus 3x. A negative times a negative is a positive 2 equals 4. We good? What's x minus 3x? Negative 2x, good. Plus 2 equals 4. I'm going to subtract 2 from both sides. So I get negative 2x equals 2. Then what? Divide by negative 2. And x equals negative 1. All right? How do I figure out what y is? Plug it in. I'm going to do it to the top one. So I have y equals 3 times 1 minus 2. What's 3 times 1? Whoops, yeah, you're right. It's negative 1. My bad. Negative 1. 3 times negative 1 is how much? Negative 3 minus 2, so y is negative 5. I write my ordered pair as 1, comma, negative 5. Now, guys, I'm going quickly through this, yes? Yeah. So, not paying attention, I plugged in a positive 1 instead of negative, right? Hannah caught me and said, oh, that should be negative. Okay, perfect. But I would have caught that myself because I'm going to do what at the end, always? You're going to check. Make sure you guys do that. I'm not right now for time's sake, but okay. All right, what about the next one? What do we do? They're both set up to say y equals, so just set them equal to each other. 2x minus 10 equals 4x minus 8. And solve. I'm going to add 8 to both sides. So 2x minus 2 equals 4x. I'm going to subtract 2x from both sides. Am I good? All right, so now what? Negative 2 equals 2x. Divide both sides by 2, and I get what? X equals negative 1. Again. Now what do I do to find out what y is? Plug it in. I'm just going to go to the top one. So y equals 2 times negative 1 minus 10. Negative 2 minus 10 is negative 12. So I have x is negative 1, y is negative 12. And what do I do with my answer? Go back in and check. Good. All right, what about this one? Whenever you're substituting, you're always trying to get one variable by itself. So you have to manipulate things to where that happens. Is this already set up as y equals or x equals a number? Yeah. So just take this expression right here and plug it in where you see the y. If it's not set up that way, then you have to move stuff around. So 2 times negative 2x minus 3 equals 2x plus 12. Distribute. 2 times negative 2 is negative 4x. 2 times negative 3 is minus 6 equals 2x plus 12. I'm going to subtract 2x from both sides. So negative 6x minus 6 equals 12. You guys with me? Okay. Add 6 to both sides. Negative 6x equals 18. Divide by negative 6. And what does x equal? Negative 3. Good. Now how do I figure out what y equals? Plug it in. So I have y equals negative 2 times negative 3 minus 3. What's a negative 2 times a negative 3? 6. And 6 minus 3 is? So my ordered pair would be negative 3, comma 3. And what can I do to make sure that I'm right? Plug it back in, all right? All right, now we're moving on just to a different type. It says solve by substitution, elimination, or graphing. What does this one say? Elimination. Make sure you read the directions. So if we're going to solve by elimination, that means we want one variable to cancel out. I want to make something have a coefficient that is the exact opposite. You guys may choose to do things differently. Some of you may always want to do y's. Some of you may always want to do x. I'm going to eliminate x's because all I have to do is multiply the bottom equation by 2. Everybody agree? So I'm going to distribute. So I'm going to rewrite my initial equation as 4x plus 3y equals negative 5. When I distribute that 2, I get negative 4x plus 2y equals 12. Agreed? Yes. No. Here, this should be 4y, right? Right here should be 4. Thank you. I knew that didn't look right. All right, so when I when I combine them, 4x's cancel out. 3 plus 4 is 7y equals, what's negative 5 and 12? 7. Divide both sides by 7, and y equals what? Y equals 1. Now, how do I figure out what x is? Plug it back in. I'm just going to use the top one. So 4x plus 3 times 1 equals negative 5. 4x plus 3 equals negative 5. I'm going to subtract 3 from both sides. I get 4x equals negative 8. divide by 4, and I get x equals -2. So my ordered pair when I write it is -2, 1. Agreed? And then how do I know for sure? What do I go back and do? Plug it in. Look at the next one. All right, this one's not set up super duper easy. Fractions, decimals, all that is fair game. I told you guys that. I'm going to eliminate the y's just because 3 times 2 is 6, and that seems easier to me. I'm going to multiply the top equation by -2, and I'm going to multiply the bottom equation by +3. Why did I do one negative and one positive? Because they need to cancel, right? They're both positive. Y's are both positive now, so I need one of them to become a negative. So let's distribute first. -2 times 8 is -16x. -2 times y, 3y is -6y. And -2 times 13 is -26. You guys are allowed calculators, so don't tell me that the numbers are too big or whatever. Now distribute the 3. So 3 times 3, this is going to give me 9x. 3 times 2 is going to give me 6y. And then 3 times 11 gives me 33. Questions? My y's will cancel out. What's a -16 and a +9? -7x equals, what's -26 and 33? Yep, 7. Divide both sides by -7, and you get what? X equals -1. And again, for the 19,000th time, how do I figure out what y is? Plug it back in. I'm going to use the bottom one just because. 3 times -1 plus 2y equals 11. -3 plus 2y equals 11. Add 3 to both sides. 2y equals what? 14. Divide both sides by 2. And y equals? What's 14 divided by 2? 7. So my ordered pair is -1, 7. What's up, Duque? Sure. That's okay. And how do I know for sure? You plug it back in. Good. All right, keep moving. Here we go. Oh, this is a gift. Why is this one a gift? Because why? The 5's already cancel out. I don't even have to do really anything. I just go like this. And then what's 4 minus 2? 2y equals -7 plus 1? -6. Divide by 2 and y equals? -3. Ooh, that was an easy one. Now I'm going to say, okay, I got to figure out what y is. 5x plus 4 times -3 equals -7. 5x minus 12 equals -7. I'm going to add 12 to both sides. 5x equals 5. Now what? Divide by 5, and x equals 1. All right, so far, y'all, we've had nice, pretty answers. For number 11, how many of you got a nice, pretty answer? If you did, then you did something wrong. How many of you got through it and then were like, ugh, I'm just going to stop? It's okay if you did. We're going to work through it. What are we going to cancel out? What's going to be easiest to cancel out, you think? What looks the easiest to cancel out? Why? How come? I agree. But you just got to change the sign, right? So I'm just going to multiply this top equation by -1. So I have negative times negative is going to give me 2x minus 2y equals -6. That 1 goes to everything on both sides of the equation. And then on the bottom, I'm left with 4x plus 2y equals -5. So 2 plus 4 is 6x. My y's cancel out, and then we have -11. Some of you probably got here and went, wait, I did something wrong. Because when you divide, x equals -11 over 6. And you're like, wait a second, everything else has been just perfectly fine. This can't be right. I also told you about fractions. If it was a terminating decimal, feel free, turn it into a decimal. When I divide -11 by 6 in my calculator, I get -1.833333333. Is that a terminating decimal? No. That means you have to keep it as a fraction. So when we go to simplify, or when we go to plug back in, you guys just have to, just suck it up, all right? This is easier to look at if you get rid of all denominators. So whichever one you want to use, it doesn't matter. You can use the top one or the bottom one. I'm just going to simplify, or substitute back into the top equation to find out what y equals. I mean the bottom. So I have 4 times negative 11 over 6 plus 2y equals negative 5. All right, you guys with me? So when I go to simplify, yep, this becomes like this, yes? So I'm left with negative 22 over 3 plus 2y equals negative 5. Now, when we get to this point, a lot of you are like, oh, I don't want to change everything to thirds. You don't have to. What can I multiply everything by to get that 3 to go away? The 3 on the bottom. What can I multiply the entire equation by? The whole number 3. You can absolutely do that. So when I do that, the 3's with negative 22 over 3 cancels out. So I have negative 22. What is 3 times 2? So plus 6y equals, what's 3 times negative 5? Negative 15. Now, thank you very much. Is this a more, is this something that's easier to work with? Yes. As soon as you guys see a fraction, instead of changing everything to a common denominator, just multiply through with something that'll cancel all the denominators out. So I'm going to add 22 to both sides. And I get 6y equals, what's negative 15 plus 22? 7. And then I'm going to divide both sides by 6. And I get y equals 7 over 6. So my solution is negative 11 over 6, 7 over 6. Now, this may not be the easiest thing in the world to check. You can use your calculator, and if here you wanted to change to a decimal, you can plug it in and you should get something really close. It won't be exact, but you should be in the ballpark. Or you can be big kids and plug it in using fractions, which I think most of you can handle, but I know some of us won't. All right, next. Substitution or elimination? What were the directions? Elimination. I see a fraction. What's the first thing I want to do? Get rid of it. What am I going to multiply the entire top equation by? Say it, Felicity. 2. Not a girl. Here, here, and here. 2 times 2 is 4, so 4x. 2 times positive 5y over 2. The 2's will just cancel out, so you have plus 5y equals 2 times 3 is 6. All right. Is this a more manageable looking problem now? There we go. Okay, so now what? I want to get rid of x's or y's. Doesn't matter. Y's is going to make our numbers bigger. Okay, so if I get rid of x's, what can 4 and 6 both make? All right, if you guys just multiplied by negative 4 and positive 6, you just get bigger numbers. But I see in my mind, oh, well, 4 and 6, I can make 12 out of both of those. I just want one to be positive and one to be negative. So I'm going to multiply this top here by negative 3, because that'll give me a negative 12, right? And I'm going to multiply the bottom here by positive 2. So negative 3 times 4x, negative 12x. Negative 3 times 5, negative, what? 15y. And then negative 3 and 6 is negative 18. Am I good? Check me as we go along, because I'm going fast, I know. 2 times 6 here is 12x. 2 times negative 7 is minus 14y. And then 2 times negative 20 is negative 40. Agreed? Okay, what happens to my 12s? What's negative 15 and negative 14? Negative 29. Y equals negative 58. Some of you are thinking, oh my gosh, 29 divided, that's gross, it's going to be an awful fraction. Let's just try. Divide both sides by negative 29. Y equals, what's a negative divided by a negative? And what's 58 divided by 29?
2.
2. Good job. So what do I do now with y equals 2? You can plug it in. Plug it in the top or bottom. I don't care. I'm going to plug it in the top equation. I'm going to say, okay, fine. 2x plus 5 times 2 divided by 2 equals 3. What's 5 times 2? 10. And 10 divided by 2 is 5. Look, these just cancel out. No worries. So 2x plus 5 equals 3. What do? Subtract 5 from both sides. I'm going to move over here. So 2x equals negative 2. Then what? Divide both sides by 2. And x equals negative 1. What is my ordered pair? Negative 1, comma 2. Questions? How do I know for sure that I'm right? Plug it back in. All right, last 3 I want you guys to super duper pay attention to. I've told you several times, not only today, but several times that, what? Fractions and decimals? Fair game. All right, some of you look at this one and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't even know how. Think about it, guys. What can I multiply the bottom equation by to get whole numbers? How do I move decimals? I know you guys just move them left and right, but what are you really multiplying by when you move decimals? Whole numbers. What kind of whole numbers? Like if I want to move each decimal place over 2, what do I have to multiply by? 100. Good. So I'm going to multiply everything on the bottom by 100. And what that does is that's going to give me the top equation, 4x plus 2y equals 8. And on the bottom, this becomes 16x minus what? 1y equals 14. Much more manageable. What do you guys want to eliminate, x's or y's? Doesn't matter. Y. Okay, what are you going to multiply the bottom by? Perfect. So I have 4x plus 2y equals 8. 2 times 16 is 32x, right? 2 times negative y is minus 2y. And 2 times 14 is 28. Again, guys, math way, photo math, they're not going to do it like this. So when you just write out line, 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 I'm going to write a question mark and give you no credit. Let's combine down. What's 32 plus 4? 36x. These cancel out. What do you think 8 and 28 is? 36. We should always check using our calculators, but I divide both sides by 36 and I get x equals 1. Now, you can multiply back into, when you can substitute back into either equation. Which one would be easier to find y? The top one. If you want to challenge yourself and use the bottom, that's fine. Does not matter to me. I'm just going to go back and do the easy route. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 2y equals 8. I'm going to subtract 4 from both sides. I get 2y equals 4. Divide by 2, and I get y equals what? So what's my ordered pair? 1, comma 2. Remember, placement is a big deal. 1, comma 2 is a very different place on the graph than 2, comma 1. All right, good job, guys. 2 more. Look at 14. Ugh, fractions again. Who cares? What do I do? What can 4 and 3 both, quote unquote, go into? What can I multiply the whole number by that would help me out immensely? Nobody knows? What's 4 times 3, guys? 12. So if I multiply everything by 12, this becomes what? 3 times x plus 4, because 12 divided by 4 is 3, plus 4 times y minus 1, because 12 divided by 3 is 4. And what's 12 times 1? 12, all right. Now, before I bring down that second equation, I'm just going to clean this up a little bit, because there's some little extra math we have to do here. 3 times x is 3x. 3 times 3 is 9. Plus 4 times y is 4y. 4 times negative 1 is negative 4 equals 12. So this is really 3x plus 4y. What? What do I have to do with the 9 and the What's 9 minus 4? 5. It's a positive, right? So if I move it to the other side, it becomes what? Becomes negative, right? So this would give me a 7. You guys agree? Okay. All right, so I have 2x minus y equals 1. And then I have 3x plus 4y equals 7. Now, what am I going to eliminate? Y's or x's? Let's do y's. I'm just going to multiply the entire top equation by 4. So 4 times 2 is going to give me 8x. 4 times negative y is going to give me negative 4y. And 4 times 1 is going to give me 4. Agreed? What's 3 plus 8? 11x. My y's cancel out. What's 7 plus 4? 11. Divide both sides by 11. And x equals 1. Now, which equation would you like to plug back into? Y. It just looks easier. I agree with you. So 2 times 1 minus y equals 1. 2 minus y equals 1. I'm going to subtract 2 from both sides. Negative y equals negative 1. So what is y going to give me? Y equals 1. What's my ordered pair? 1, comma, 1. Good. Good, good, good. All right, 2 more. I lied the first time I said 2 more. I really meant 3 more. Pay attention to these, guys. These are important. What do I need to do here? I'm going to eliminate. So what do you want to eliminate, guys? X's or Y's? X's. Okay, what are you going to multiply the bottom equation by then? What kind of 2? Negative 2, because we want our X's to be opposites, right? So boom, boom, boom. So I have negative 14x minus 16y equals 24. On the bottom, negative times negative is positive 14x. Negative 2 and negative 8 is positive 16y. And negative 2 and negative 12 is what? Positive 24. What's negative in a positive 14x? 0. What's negative in a positive 16y? 0. What is 24 plus 24? 48. What's my answer here? No solution. My answer here is no solution because this is not an okay answer. All right, I'm going to do this same problem, the exact same problem. I'm going to change one thing. I'm going to change this right here. Say your problem started off looking like this. All right, so I have negative 14x minus 16y equals 24. Then I have 14x plus 16y equals negative 24. What happens here? Negative and 14 is what? 0. 16 and negative 16 is 0. 24, negative 24 is 0. What is my answer here when everything cancels out? Infinite what? Infinite solutions. Infinite many. Do you guys see the difference? This is important. Don't just assume since one side everything cancels out, it's the same as the other thing. When you have 0 equals 0, on both sides it's infinite many. When you have 0 equals a number, then it's no solution. So in a case like this one, what are we going to cancel out? I'm almost done. Let's cancel out x's. Multiply 2 on the bottom. So negative 18x plus 14y equals 2. Gives me positive 18x minus 14y equals negative 20. What happens with the x's? Cancel out. What happens with the y's? Cancel out. What happens with 2 minus 20? Negative 18. What is your answer here? No solution. Guys, no solution. Infinite many solution. Fair game. Fractions. Fair game. Solutions that are decimals. Fair game. Fractions in a problem. Fair game. Everything in standard form and you got to move it all around. Fair game. Deal? Okay, good job, good job, good job.